I'm going to talk about my own personal experience. You see, I've been a so-called death doula for about the last 3 years. And while I've been preparing myself, I'd already been giving people a lot of grief support and counseling because I had to work through my own grief from a family member that passed away. As a hairstylist, I listen to people talk about a whole lot of things, and life and death is definitely one of those things. One of my clients' fathers was diagnosed with stage 4 COPD. I didn't even know that came in stages. She talked about him being given only 6 months to live initially and how he had gone on to live a full year beyond that. She also knew that I could assist with grief support and companion care, and she and her family could desperately use the extra hands, love, and support. She and her fiance are preparing to be wedded, and they had already set the date, but because of her dad's disease, she wanted to try and beat it and get it done as fast as possible. Her dad wanted a companion a few days out of the week because he had gotten weaker. I can remember her telling me about how he used to be a much bigger man with a little bit more weight on his body, but because of the disease, he had lost so much weight. The part I liked most was how she described his relationship with his grandsons. It reminded me of my dad and how he favored my boys as well. I don't know, I guess it's just something about dads and sons, dads and grandsons. Either way, I knew I was going to enjoy my time doing my job, and I was definitely ready to meet Mr. Williams. We set an appointment so that I could come over to her home and meet with her dad. I let her know that I would be performing a safety inspection and that he should be prepared to do a bit of paperwork. We had arranged to meet at noon on her next off day. That way the three of us could all sit and go over the necessary details during the initial intake. Mr. Williams was a very clean-cut gentleman. He was super, super nice. A little mannish at times, but nothing that was too derogatory or anything that offended me. I wasn't that sensitive. He didn't seem to let his condition wear him down either. He didn't require any oxygen during the visit, although he was wearing it when I first arrived. We talked about the things that he wanted most, and that was first and foremost a friend, somebody to assist him while he was at home during the week, because his daughter and his son-in-law were both working. His grandsons, although they were old enough to assist, they were in school. And because his health was declining, he just needed some additional assistance. He wasn't sure what he wanted at bedside, but he also didn't feel he would take long to die. I can remember him telling me, I spoke with God and told him I don't want to go like that. I told him to make it quick. I was truly impressed with all the work he had done. He had truly made his peace and planned all of his arrangements long before we ever met. I mean, his arrangement, the cemetery he had planned to be buried in, the burial plot itself, his clothing, all those things had been bought and paid for. All his family needed to do now was make the minor decisions of what time and in their own time and once he transitioned. He even made his grandsons his beneficiaries on his life insurance. He had always doted on those boys, and they loved him right back. But for me, it was good to see firsthand how someone had considered all the possibilities, how even in a life-altering and ultimately terminal disease, he was ensuring his family would be okay. It had been a little over 2 weeks, and I was getting completely adjusted to being Mr. Williams' companion care doula. I also couldn't shake the feeling that we weren't going to make it to bedside either. I remember him telling me specifically that he wanted to go quick, but also, just from my experience in life, that when an elder tells you when they're ready, how they're ready, it's not too much we can do to change that because they just inherently know. I can remember that last Sunday. When I walked in, Mr. Williams was in the kitchen already, lively, music going, kind of loud, not too much, but he was already preparing food. I asked if there was anything he needed me to do. He told me I could just be there, and I was grateful to do that. I realized I was watching a man rally, and I wondered if anyone else knew. He prepared a really good meal. We all enjoyed it. It was good laughs. Some church people stopped by and dropped off some sweets. The neighbors popped in and said hello. It was a really, really good time. I got the call mid-morning Monday saying that he had transitioned. Apparently, he had enough energy left in him to say goodbye to his grandsons and daughter. His son-in-law would be the one to discover him, sitting downstairs in his space with his oxygen. I will never forget Mr. Williams. Although it was such a short period of time, his daughter had made such an impression on me with her description initially, and meeting him just made it all the more fulfilled. I really appreciate the work that I do, the people that I meet. I appreciate how it all starts with me simply behind the chair. I'm so grateful to have had the opportunity and to have made and saved sacred space for Mr. Ronald Williams.